break your back in gently-ish. Right, ladies and gents, when you're ready, just placing your feet under your hips, being as tall as possible, and a little tuck in with the chin. Open up the chest so your palms face into your thighs, and a little squeeze the bottom just to stabilise your hips. Arms lifting, and then drop into the right, lifting, and drop into the left. Morning, Mary. Breathe in as you lift the arms, and then breathe out as they drop. So you want to feel the rotation starting to come through the upper body. Keeping your weight anchored into your heels with the knees nice and soft. And if you want to start lifting the heels, as you lift the arms, let the heels just lift gently off the ground. As you're lifting the heels, you're pressing through the balls of your feet, and you're trying not to let the knees roll apart. Again, breathing as the arms lift, and then breathe out as they drop. Once more on each side, and keeping the hands to the right. Wrapping the arms just around the waist, so we're getting a little bit more rotation through the upper body. And whenever you're ready, you can take a small side step, or a nice big side lunge. Relax the shoulders, but keep the chest nice and lifted. Gently start to sit back into the hips. And then focus on keeping your left foot pressed down to the floor. So it brings a little bit more stretch into the inner thigh. Still turning the head and the shoulders. And once more. Staying across, squaring the hips to the front, and then easing into a gentle side bend. Just letting your left hip gently push across, and then giving that left hip a little lift up towards the ceiling. Your right hand sliding down towards the knee, and then gently pull the left elbow up towards the ceiling too. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper, just reach a little further out to the side. As we tip to the side, try and keep that lengthened feeling into the spine. Breathing out with each tip, and twice more. Coming into the last one, and holding here. Turning both feet out to the diagonal now, and opening the knees, and then come into some squats. Drop the arms, and lift the arms up, and reach high. Little breath in, squeeze the bottom. And again, as you sit back into the squat, let the hips sit back first behind the heels. Keep a little tuck in with the chin. So again, we've still got that nice alignment through our spine. As you keep pushing the knees out wide, that's going to help to stretch the inner thighs a little more. And it's going to also bring a little bit more activation through the outer thighs and your glutes. Breathe in as the arms drop. Breathe out with the lift. Once more. Hold at the top, stepping in, hands back towards the thighs with your twist around to the right, and then the left, and then your side step. So again, it doesn't have to be very big. You just let your weight move across the left, and then pull back into the centre. But really focus on keeping, again, that right foot flat on the floor. Keeping the length all the way through the spine, through the neck. Feel it's the chest and shoulders that turn, but your hips the whole time staying square to the front. Just let the shoulders relax down away from the ears. Letting the arms just naturally swing and wrap. Two more across to your right, left. And your last one, staying across. Squaring the hips, little tip from the hips. So again, try not to just bend the spine. Keep the chest slightly lifted. And feel it's the hips that move out to the side with a little lift up to the ceiling. And you can start to lift your right elbow a little higher. Reaching your left arm a little further. Just feel how that gently starts to increase the stretch on the inner thigh. But really focus on your posture and the length of the spine as you move. And once more. Back into the centre. Bringing the feet underneath the hips. Taking your right leg forward. Pressing your left heel down and trying to straighten both legs. Hands behind the bottom. Just a little hinge forward. So we just focus on trying to lift the bottom up, but keeping the back long and flat. Sometimes our body naturally wants to move where it's easier to move from. And it's easier to move through the upper back than it is to bring the stretch into the hamstrings. So keep that little lift of the chest. Think about again lifting the bottom away from the heel and just feeling that mild stretch down the back of the leg. And twice more here. And then staying in the centre. Bend your right knee so it's over your heel. Either lift the back heel and stay in a small position here, or a nice long stride back for your lunge. Lowering the arms, lifting the arms, sorry, and then lowering the arms. Breathing in as you sink down, and breathing out to rise. Again, if you're in a small step, you can just take a little bend into the back knee, keeping shoulders stacked above the hips. Or if you're in the lunge, think about tucking under slightly with your tailbone. And feel like you're lifting the front of the pelvis, just gently up towards the belly button, so it keeps the pelvis level as we lower. We get a little bit more stretch into the hip flexors. And once more. Staying where you are, take a little hinge forward. So just opening the right arm. Now as we open the right arm to the side, I want to think about opening from the shoulder and slightly rotating through the centre of your chest. A little press down through that front heel. And again, if you're in a small stance, that's fine. Just keeping most of the weight in the front foot. Keeping the left arm, the left shoulder in set position. And two more here. And then your last one. And then you can step back in. Feet under hips. Taking your right leg back this time. So both legs straight, square the hips up. Palms face away so the shoulders can roll back. That little hinge forward. Think about lifting the front of the ribs slightly as you tip forward. So you're trying not to allow the ribs to move down towards the hips. Imagine that pose at the back of your t-shirt. That way we're using our core to maintain our posture, and we're getting a hinge from our hips to encourage length into the hamstrings. Breathe in as you rise, breathe out to hinge, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time here. Moving back to the lunge. So stack your front knee over your heel. Again, you can stay here and circle the arms. I'll take that stride back. Tuck the bottom. Your aim is to keep your shoulders above your hips as you lower down. If the hip flexors are tight, sometimes it makes our shoulders come forward. If that's happening, don't go as low into the knee. Keep drawing the tailbone gently down at the back. And that little lift of the pubic bone at the front. Try and draw the chin back so the ears again stay in line with the shoulders. Big breath in to lower, out breath to rise. Your last one, holding, hinging forward so your weight shifts against that front heel, and then we open the left arm. Each time you open the arm, think about the shoulder blade first. Physically squeeze the shoulder blade in towards the spine to lift the arm. Keep the chin nodded in, so as you're lifting the arm, your eye gaze follows the hand. We get a little bit more rotation through the neck. And there's a little bit more challenge for the stability through your left leg. So try not to grip with the toes, keep it pressed into your heel, she says. And one last time. And then keeping the weight in that front heel, step in and reset. All right, let's grab a weight. So taking the feet just outside the hips, your squats and your curls, and your presses. With the weight here, it naturally wants to pull our shoulders forward. So you want to switch your postural muscles on and hold the shoulders back. Sit back into the hips and just curl up towards your breastbone. So always leading with the hips moving backwards rather than the knees going forwards. That way we put the weight, the load into the bottom, and we can focus on squeezing the bottom as we rise. Little checking on the knees. Sometimes the knees want to drop in, so keep opening the knees from the hips. That's going to help to maintain the alignment between the knees, the hips and the ankles. And then we start to add in a press at the top. So hold at the top, keep the ribs down and press to your collarbones and back between the knees. Notice when the weight comes forward, your shoulders don't roll in towards each other. As soon as the shoulders roll in towards each other, that's going to make the upper back round. The more you can keep your collarbones open as you squat, the better position for the back. The more we can then focus on keeping our neutral spine as we sit back into our heels. Knees still open from the hips. Think about slightly holding the belly button towards the spine as you move. Once more to the top, and then holding at the top. Either stepping your feet under your hips or right foot just behind, squeezing the elbows in and into a little tricep extension. So we want to find a little stretch down the back of the arms, but sometimes the elbows want to go wide to avoid that stretch. So don't think about how low you can take the weight, think about keeping those elbows squeezed in and pointing forwards. Gently drawing the shoulder blades down to the back of the rib cage, and then a little tuck with the tailbone. Breathe in as you lower, breathe out to extend. 2 more here, and hold. Take your right leg further back. We're now going to come down to a lunge, and then we hinge forward and bring the weight to the knee. Again, option, just come to here, pull the hips back and weight to the knee. Or if you're happy with a lunge, lower it as much as you can into the back knee. Breathe in as you sink, and breathing out as you tip forward. Now again, as you tip forward, try to keep the collarbones nice and open. If those shoulders roll in towards each other at the front, it's going to make the upper back round as we come forwards. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Twice more. Slow breath, strong breath. Holding your next one at the front. So either back leg lifted or back leg down. Just tap your foot in and come to a front raise, no higher than your heart. So the shoulder blades down to the back of the ribs. Each time you step in, notice how both knees are bent, you come into a partial squat position rather than up straight. So feel the hips behind the heels. Feel the weight in the left heel. And if it feels okay, keep the foot off the ground. Again, trying to breathe out each time as you extend. Out through the mouth. Left knee soft. Weight into that heel the whole time. Once more. And then stepping in and resetting. We're going to come back to the squats with the curl of the press, but wider this time. So the feet outside your shoulder line with the toes turned outwards, about 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And then the knees also point to 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Sit back into the hips, come to your curl. So as we take the legs wider, that helps to engage our glutes more. But we have to really work on keeping our knees open as we sit back into that squat. And trying to keep the knees open as we rise. Again, sliding back into the hips, chin in, back and neck aligned, and then your press, holding and pressing. Breathing in as you sit back. And each time you rise, give your bottom an extra little squeeze when you get to the top. So you feel your hips get right back underneath of your shoulders. And then keep squeezing the bottom as you press the weight over the head. Maybe a little further back with the hips. And as you pull the hips further back, there's more work there for your glutes. Holding your next one at the top. Left foot either steps under hip or just behind. Elbows back in. Now gently draw the front of the ribs down. So that stops our upper abdominals being over lengthened. That brings more engagement into the upper abdominals. Helps us to focus on keeping our spine in a neutral position. So then if you draw your pubic bone slightly up now, towards the belly button, we've got even more connection into our midsection. That rhymed, didn't it? Breathe in on the way down, keeping the elbows squeezed in, and just try and find a gentle stretch down the back of the arms. Dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. 2 to go. Holding the weights at the top. Left leg back this time. So again from here, I'm going to come down into a lunge, tip forward, either back foot lifting or back foot staying on the ground. There's no rush. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Now when you lunge, you're keeping your back heel off the ground, which is going to allow more movement through the knee and the hip to sink into your lunge. If that back foot's flat, it's really hard to bend into that back knee. Now think about our core still, nice long spine all the way through. As you come forward, keep that little pinch between the shoulder blades, so we're not letting the front of the shoulders curl in towards each other. As open as you can through your collarbones, and that's going to make it easier to keep our spine in a neutral position. Keep driving down through your right heel as you come forwards. 2 to go. Tucking the bottom to feel the stretch into the hip flexor, and then holding at the front. Back foot comes down, just a tap in and a tap back. Or when you're ready, add in the lift. Get no higher than the heart, because we don't want to lift the ribs as we lift the weight. Want to keep both shoulder blades drawing down to the back of the rib cage. And if you want more challenge for balance, don't put your left foot down. Just a light tap of the weight on the thigh. Breathing out and bracing your core as you lift the arms. Still a bend in that right knee. Hips slightly back behind the heel. 2 more here. Your last one. And then step in and hold. Right, weight just into your right hand, left hand, sorry. I do know the difference sometimes. We'll go bowling. Keeping your left foot anchored. Take your weight across to your right knee and pull back to here. So to the right knee and pull back. Now watch the shoulder doesn't come forward. We're trying to get the shoulders and the hips square to the front as we step across. Now left foot flat, anchored to the ground. And if your balance wants to challenge, you can either rest on the tip of the toe or bring the knee up to hip level. You can even go a little bit wider if you want to. Again, breathing as you stride across, breathing out to rise. Strong out breath helps engage your core when you get to here, which should hopefully help with the balance too. 3 to go. Pull in with that left inner thigh. And your last one. And hold. Keep your balance. Clearly not like me. Lower the weight down. When you're ready, come up to a bicep curl. And then take the leg out to the side. Either again tapping, you can hold the hip if you want to. Or again, letting the foot just come off the ground. So left knee again is soft. Breathing in as you rise. Breathing out to lower. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You might find you tilt a little cross to the left. So bring the shoulders right back above the hips. 4 to go. Elbow nice and close to the ribs so the upper arm doesn't move. Shoulders are staying back and down. And your last one. And then hold. Changing sides. Right hand. So roll the shoulder back and focus on keeping that shoulder blade slightly squeezed in. Small step across. Feel like you're taking the weight towards the inside of your left knee. Step in wider if you want to. So we get a little bit more stretch into that right inner thigh. You can push the bum just a little further back. When you hinge forward, don't let the back round. Keep almost lifting the front of your rib cage. Come into a light tap as you step into centre or into your knee lift. As you pull the weight back, pull the shoulder blade back and down as well. In breath as you stride and slide across, and the out breath, to reset. You missed the lift. 2 more. So again, brace your core, it helps. And your last one, and hold. Bring your weight down. When you're ready, bicep curl, out thigh tap. So again, we're breathing, I've got that the wrong way around. There we go. Out, in, out, in. So nice, slow, controlled movement. As you lift the knee, don't worry about lifting it too high, because we don't want to change the position of the spine. Especially if our hamstrings are naturally tight, you might feel the back wants to arch as you lift. Try not to put any weight onto the left foot as you reach across. So stretch into the toes and just tap your big toe. 4 here. Upper arm still. Shoulders again staying back and down. Your last one. And then step in. Deadlifts and stretches. Weight just in front of your thighs. Again, the weight naturally wants to pull our shoulders forward. So we'll just squeeze the shoulder blades together. You set that hip hinge, keeping the back long and flat. But you really need to focus on pushing the hips behind your heels and then almost lift the bottom up towards the ceiling. You can see how that keeps the back in neutral position. Then we're going to focus more on using our hamstrings. So pause. Push the heels down to drive your hips forward. Breathe out with the lift. Breathe in as you tip. Out through the mouth and in through your nose. Chin in so you can see how the neck and the spine stay aligned as you tip forwards. Try and let the back round. Keep lifting the front of the ribs as you tip forward. Trying to get the heart slightly lifted. 2 to go here. And coming into that last one. Into the back of the shoulder again. Weight in your left hand. A step and a row. So I'm going to face this way. Your left leg steps back. Take a row and then step forward. So a hinge, row and then reset. Try to keep your left foot light the whole time. If you prefer, small step, or if you can, a nice long stride. And each time when you come forward, push out your front heel. Again, breathe. Squeeze the elbow in towards the ribs. Small step with a slow row, or a longer step with a nice big row. Notice how your elbow physically skims your rib cage, and your weight should almost skim across the top of your hip bone. Each time you come forward, driving your right heel into the floor, chest high, and 2 more. Tip, pull, and rise. Last one, and then hold. From here, take the right leg, left leg back again. Single leg deadlift now. So hinging forward from the hips. And again, the same as we did with both feet on the floor, we focus on pushing the bottom back, keeping the left leg straight, and just letting your big toe tap lightly on the ground. Keeping a little bend in your right knee. Breathing in as you hinge forward. Breathing out to rise. 2 more. And then your last one. And change sides. So weight into your right hand. So it's your right leg stepping back, feet hip distance. So step, row, and push forwards. So when you step, we need to hinge forward through the upper body. When you rise, push down to your left heel. And let's give that bottom a little squeeze as you step in, or a longer step. Chest stays nice and high. Shoulder blades stay, just gently drawn towards each other. You feel how that keeps the shoulders and the chest open. As you tip forward, belly button just draw slightly in towards the spine, so it's helping to keep our back in neutral position. Weight skims just past your hip bone. Your elbow just by the bottom rib. 3 to go. Squeeze, drive forward. Try not to push off your right foot as you step forward. Just keep pushing out your left heel. And once more. Single leg deadlift. So take the leg behind. Again, it doesn't have to be too far, but try and make it straight. Hinge you when you're ready, and rising. So move as slowly as you can. And again, it doesn't have to be too big, just maybe a little lift and a tap. Or maybe a little bigger. Maybe trying to get your whole body parallel to the ground. Your shoulder is going to naturally want to drop towards the floor. You can see what that does to the back. So postural muscles on, shoulder blades squeeze together. And try and maintain that connection through the back of the body as you hinge forwards. Back foot, look at your toes, still pointing down to the ground as you hinge forward. That was a bad one, but 2 more without falling over. And then your last one here. And hold. Right, I think we can have a lie down. Let's come on to our backs first. I can't fall over when I'm on the floor. Apparently. Anything's possible. Right, when you're ready, let's work on some pullovers first. Just think about holding the ribs and the shoulders in set position, and then we'll add in some leg extensions or heel slides. So when you lie down, knees 90 degrees, directly in line with the hips, head rested, and a little tuck in with your chin. Extend the arms, draw the shoulder blades into the back of the ribs, and gently press the back of your rib cage down to the floor. Once you've pressed the rib cage down, just take a gentle pull over, arms reaching back over the head. Breathing in as you reach back, and breathing out as you lift. So first focus is keeping the rib cage still. Try not to let the ribs flare as you take the arms back. If they are flaring, imagine those ribs being slightly pulled down towards the hips, and don't take the arms as far, and focus on keeping the ribs in place. Then you can add in a heel slide. Now alternating the legs, one sliding forward and then the other. And look at a nice, slow, controlled movement, which is going to make our core work longer to hold our spine neutral as we move. If you want to take it to tabletop position with the knees above the hips, not the belly, so your shins stay parallel to the ceiling. And we're trying to keep the lower back in a soft imprint if you have the knees lifted. The breath again, in as you open, out breath to close. A little nodding with the chin, 2 more on each side. Again, that heel slide is your option. If you've got the knees up, don't forget to hold the soft imprint. Once more here. And then 1 foot down, and then the other foot down. Weight in your right hand. Shoulder away from the ear. We're going to come into hip bridges. If you want to just work with the arm Martin, that's fine. So heels close to bottom, chin tucked in, top of the hip bridge, and we start here. 1 tricep extension, and then a single arm fly. So we lower the hips with the tricep, and then we lower the hips with the fly. But we're not bringing the bottom to the ground. It's just a little hover. Just so there's no rest for your bottom just yet. It's a big powerhouse that wants to keep working. When you bring the arm out to the side, a little softness in the elbows. You've got that slight bend and feel like you're opening through the chest and the shoulder. Now notice your left shoulder. Try and keep that really firm into the ground. The more we keep the shoulders anchored, the more we can really focus on using our glutes to squeeze up with the hips. Once more each way. And then hold, just bringing the hips down. Take the feet forward, lift your left knee. Left leg slides, right arm opens. So we gently draw the front of the ribs down. We're back in our neutral position, so we've still got one foot on the ground. And as you bring your weight out to the side, it wants to be lower than your heart, not by your shoulder or your head. That's going to help to open and stretch the chest more. But more importantly, it's going to allow you to keep your shoulders down away from the ears in a nice strong set position. Now as you're moving the right left leg, keep the right heel nice and light on the floor. Especially as you lift that left leg. Try not to push through your right foot. 2 left. Your last one. Back to triceps, feet down. From here, just hold the arm. Come down, halfway up, down, all the way up. So we're down, halfway, and then all the way. Halfway, we just bring the arm back to 90 degrees, and then fully straighten the arm for the extension. Now again, set the shoulders. Press them down to the ground. Little nodding with the chin. Your elbow should be pointing down towards your toes. So it's like you're squeezing your armpit closed and keeping the elbow nice and tight. Last 2. Down, half, down, up. One more. And hold. Change arms. Give that one a rest. So again, as you bring your weight in, turn your palm towards the midline of your body and feel like your elbow again is pointing towards your knee. When you're ready, back with the feet for our hip bridges. Rise to the top. This is where we begin. Halfway down with the tricep press, and then halfway down with your flurry. So breathing in, keeping a soft elbow, especially for that fly. Nice tuck in with the chin, so we've got the alignment of the neck. Both shoulders evenly pressed into the ground. And try to just think about squeezing your bottom to push the hips up each time. So as you lower the hips, you let your bottom relax. And you squeeze the bottom to push the hips up. Breathe into lower, out on the lift, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Check that weight again, stays in line with the heart. It's not coming up by the shoulder or the ear. 2 more each way. Easing down. Your last one. And hold. Hips come down. Feet go a little further forward. Knees are back at 90 degrees. And your right knee lifts. When you're ready, opening, back to the fly. And then into centre. Don't rush. Focus on trying to keep the trunk of your body still as you open the arm and the leg. Then try and keep your left foot light as you bring the weight in. Don't push through the left foot. Brace your core. The more you push through the foot as you lift the arm and leg, the less you need to use your core. The lighter the left foot, the more your core will have to engage to help with the lift. The in breath on the way down, out breath on the way up. Last 2 here. And then holding at the top. Place the feet down. Hold the back of that left arm. Get the elbow to point to the knee and set your shoulder away from your ear. Down, halfway, and then all the way up. So down to 90 degrees, down, and then fully up. Just see how much space you can keep between your ear and your shoulder. And see how still you can keep the upper arm. So movement then comes from the elbow, which encourages more work into the triceps, right down the back of the arms. Don't forget to breathe in, out, and extend. In, out, in. That's it. Just getting that rhythm with your breath. Try not to let the ribs flare, so still just slightly. Drawing the front of the ribs down, so we're keeping the upper abdominals on. One last time. Down, half, down, hold. Bring the weight down. You can ditch your weight. Have a roll onto your side. the arms have a wee rest too. So in our side lying position, we're going to bring the focus back onto the outer thighs. If you need more balance, you can bend your underneath knee to make it a little bit easier. A little bit harder, both legs out straight. Now head rested either on the arm or the arm forward with a block or a cushion here. Shoulders in set position, ribs slightly down at the front and your top leg a little bit longer than the bottom leg. Keep your hand on the floor or on the hip and just let the leg lift just about shoulder height and then back down. Now try and keep the space between the ear and the shoulder. So again, we're not using our shoulders to try and stabilise. The more you can keep the shoulder down and the hand light or on the hip, the more we use our core. Now give your bottom leg a gentle squeeze right down the front of the thigh. Challenges your balance a little too. Holding at the top. Knee just eases forward, leg out straight and lower. When the knee comes forward, try not to let the kneecap point to the floor. Feel like you're pointing it straight towards the front of the room. We don't want it to drop down because that rotates the hip in. By keeping that knee pointed forwards, keeps more lift in the outer thigh, more connection through the glutes, and just keeping the hand light, more work for your core as you move the leg. Still gently squeezing that bottom leg straight. Now as the knee comes forward, try not to let the hips roll back. And try not to press into the hand as you pull the leg back. Breathing in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Twice more. Your last one. Now we're going to bring that top leg forward. So if you need to, you can put your knee on the block or on the ball if you have your ball, or on the floor if it feels okay. Leveling the hips and straightening the underneath leg. So squeeze the front of the thigh first and then lift from the inner thigh. Sometimes you try and lift with the foot. So you'll feel your foot wanting to turn up to the ceiling. Try and let the foot relax and just focus on squeezing with the inner thigh. Even if it only lifts an inch, making sure the inner thighs do the lifting. Now breathe out with each lift. And this just helps to strengthen all the muscles that cross from the hips to the knee, and they create stability between the knees and the hips. Now just check the hips are nicely stacked, and this top hip hasn't rolled forwards. A little hold at the top, and then come down slowly. So go up quick and hold, and then slowly down. So we start to build a little bit more endurance into that inner thigh, releasing with control. 4, resist. 3, resist. 2, it's amazing how heavy your wrong leg becomes. Now last set, hold at the top and a small pulse, just an inch or 2. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release that leg. Let's change sides when you're ready. So coming around to the opposite side of your mat. Getting comfortable. So resting the head, resting the shoulders. Again, bottom knee can be bent for more balance or more challenge, both legs straight. Top leg a little bit longer, so you can just feel it pulls the hip away from the rib and it creates this space here, which allows our core to engage. When you're ready, top leg just lifting, hand light. So you want to notice that you're not pressing into the hand as you lift your leg. You also want to check your hip doesn't slide up towards the rib as the leg lifts. So it's like you're constantly trying to make that top leg longer. Knee pointing forwards, not down to the floor. And by keeping that kneecap pointing forwards, that just gets slightly different muscles working down the outside of the thigh. Now breathe out, draw the abdominals in with the lift. 2 more with a straight leg lift. And then we're going to add in the knee drop. So again, focus on the hips, keeping the pelvis still. Let the knee come forward, leg straight and lower. So don't rush. Maybe moving slowly is better because you feel how your core muscles work longer to stabilise the trunk of your body. A little squeeze down the front of that underneath leg. Breathe out with the lift. Breathe in to come forward, out to extend, breath in to release. Nobody said it was easy. You can certainly feel those hip muscles working. Now try not to have any tension through your neck or your shoulder. Try and keep your upper body soft and relaxed. Keep your core nice and strong. Don't let the knee point to the floor, point it forwards. And again, that gets the glute medius working just that little bit more. 2 to go. Slow and controlled. That's all we need this morning. Your last one. And then bring the knee forward when you're ready. Try not to let the hip roll forward. Just pull that top hip back so you feel like your hip bone's still stacked. And then straighten the underneath leg. Inner thigh squeeze and release. Try not to let the foot turn up to the ceiling. Toes stay pointing forward and let your ankles stay relaxed. Just because sometimes we're task oriented and we're trying to get the leg up high, so we end up turning the foot because we think that getting the foot up higher, but we start to use different muscles in the lower leg. So let the foot relax, squeeze the inner thigh for the lift, breathe out as you squeeze through the inner thigh, and a soft breath in as you ease down. If you can, just slide that top hip just slightly away from the rib again, so it lengthens your waist on both sides. Neck and shoulders relaxed. Then a little hold, so hold and slowly lower down. Hold and slowly release. Breathe out and hold, breath in control. Again, watch that foot, it might start taking over. Try and let the ankle relax. Squeeze from the inner thigh and release to a hover. 3, to a hover. Up quick, down slow. Next time up and hold. 10 pulses to finish. 10, 9, 8, 7. Just an inch or 2. Keep squeezing that inner thigh for each pulse. 3, 2, 1. And release. Roll onto your back when you're ready. Hugging both knees towards your chest. Once you've got the knees in towards your chest, see if you can bring them a little wider, and then kind of bring the knees around to the outside of the ribs so it gets the inner thighs stretching as well as your glutes and your lower back. Little nodding with the chin. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let the knees feel a little heavier. And then place the hands on the outside of the knees and push the knees together. Feet come down. And then when you're ready, lifting your right knee above your hip and take your left leg out straight. Left hand onto your right knee and take your knee across your body. Pressing your right shoulder, down into the ground and the back of the ribs. And if you breathe in towards your lower back, breathe out, relax the lower back and try and let the knee go a little further. And then changing legs when you're ready. So right leg out straight, left knee at 90, right hand to the knee, gently easing the knee across, pressing your left shoulder down, breathe in through the nose, breathe out, relax the knee a little further, press down with that left shoulder, just because I'm upside down, relax the lower back and let the knee feel a little heavier. I like that stretch. All down the hip, the outer thigh, lower back, maybe up towards the shoulder. Bring the knees back into centre. Take the back of your knees, push your knees forward, and then use your hands and give yourself a gentle pull up and come over into box position for a cat stretch. But you bring the knees under the hips and the hands beneath the shoulders. In your own time, tucking in the chin and lifting it with the belly. And then lowering the belly and lifting it with your chest. So bring the chin in, look towards your thighs. And then look towards the ceiling. Once more, each way, Belly button lifts, chin tucks in. And then belly lowers and your eye gaze lifts. And then holding in the centre. Tuck the toes. You can push back onto the balls of the feet, walking your hands back when you're ready. Hanging your head and relaxing your neck, your shoulders and your spine. Weight through the heels, soft knees, and then a nice re-step of your spine when you're ready. Just easing your way up through each vertebrae. And rolling the shoulders all the way back above the hips. Take a nice big breath in when you're at the top. Fully extend the arms, press your hands together and just push your knuckles up to the ceiling as well as pressing your heels down into the floor. Release the shoulders, bring the hands back down towards your thighs, give the shoulders a lift and let them go. And again, a lift and a release. And well worked, ladies and gents. Nice to start a week of exercise.